Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? I am Staff Sergeant Russell Commander of the 3rd Infantry Regiment, United States Army, and of the release to unknown soldiers. The ceremony that you are about to witness is the changing of the guard. In keeping with the dignity of this ceremony, it is requested that everyone remain silent and stand. Thank you. Out! Shoulder! Out! 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 Ready! Hey! Hasten! Out! Pilot, on your orders.
Quote, and orders. Remain as directed.
Orders. Acknowledged.
Alert. Hasten. Hasten. Out. Right. Alert. Out. Out. Right. Right. Out. 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 All out. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The ceremony that you are about to witness is an Army Wreath lighting ceremony to be conducted in honor of the unknown. It is requested that everyone remain silent and standing during this ceremony. All military personnel in uniform will render the hand salute, and it is appropriate for all the ones to place the right hand over their heart while the command will be presented on. Thank you. Present all. Order all.
Ladies and gentlemen, guests, nobles, Imperial Sir, welcome to the Canadian Cross. I'd like to take a moment just to explain what this monument is, and then we'll go into something of a Canadian version of what we would do during Remembrance Day, which is Armistice Day in the United States. This is the Memorial Cross. This is not a monument to the Canadian dead. This is a monument that was proposed by Prime Minister Mackenzie King in 1925 and approved by President Coolidge. 1927, it was dedicated here on Armistice Day, November 11th. This is a very significant structure. You will find this 27-foot cross with a bronze sword adorned upon it in every Commonwealth cemetery, 40 plus in Europe. Canada and the United States share the longest unprotected land border in the world. And for the most part, we've been family and siblings for all of our history. We share a common history, and until the War of 1776, we were commonly colonies of Great Britain. And for the most part, peace existed between us, with one major fight of the War of 1812, which ended in a stalemate. We have supported each other in each other's conflicts. And this commemorates the fact that in the First World War, more than 35,000 Americans went north to volunteer and serve in the Canadian Expeditionary Force, which later became the Canadian Military, Canadian Army, etc. 35,000. Of course, the First World War started in 1914, and America didn't join till 1917, so that's why they went north. Later on, inscriptions were added to commemorate that happening in the Second World War and even Korea. We are neighbors, we're family, brothers, sisters, comrades. And this commemorates that. In Canada, on November 11th, that is our solemn occasion to remember those who have given or made the ultimate sacrifice. And in every village, town, city, and even hamlet in Canada exists a cenotaph. And on that day, we gather to remember. The ceremony that's observed is fairly universal. Everywhere you go, it's almost identical. The bugler plays the first post, the last post, and reveille. The piper plays a lament, usually the flowers of the forest. We observe a moment of silence, and a poem is recited. This poem was written by a man named John McCrae. He was a lieutenant colonel in the Canadian Medical Corps. When the Canadians got to Europe, our first major engagement was the Second Battle of Ypres. And for you history buffs, you may know that was the first time chemical weapons were deployed on the Western Front. And the Canadians ate the brunt of that, along with French colonial forces. When the Germans pushed through that, the French lines broke and the Canadians held. And it was in fact Canadians who were able to identify what that gas was because of its smell. At that time, Canada had just started putting chlorine in the water, so they recognized it from the smell of their tap water at home. On the 2nd of May, 1915, in a little village near Ypres called Saint-Julien, very close to the French-Belgian border, in a place that was once called Flanders. A young man by the name of Alexis Helmer was a lieutenant, and early in that morning he went out to inspect his gun line. He was killed by an exploding 6-pound artillery shell. The man who officiated at his burial was John McCrae, his best friend. The next morning was lamenting the fact that his best friend had passed and he had to officiate over his funeral. He was sitting in the back of an ambulance and penned a poem. He discarded that poem. Someone found it and encouraged him to submit it to be published. And it was. And from the symbolism of that poem, we get the imagery of the poppy. That poppy has become the symbol of remembrance in all of the Commonwealth, and in fact everywhere around the world. And today we wear a poppy. And that poppy comes from this poem written by John McCrae. I will recite this poem in here momentarily, just to explain. Once we're finished with the poem, tradition states that we will step forward in rank. So one rank at a time, come up, stop, lay your poppy at the base of the wreath, step back, salute, turn, walk away, and then the next rank will come up, and so forth, until we're done. We wear these poppies for about a week before remembrance. We call it the Week of Remembrance, and we deposit it on wreaths, much like what was presented today, that we would find around the base of our cenotaph. And now in Flanders Fields. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, rows and the lark in the sky, still bravely singing, scarce heard amongst the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved. And now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you with failing hands we throw the torch. Be it yours to hold high. And if ye break faith with those of us who die, we shall not sleep, though we lie in Flanders fields where poppies grow.
Forward. Push.
Good.